Is there anything wrong with watching clean, harmless movies?
Many years ago, I had a student who was very mischievous. He was a big troublemaker. I was very young at the time, and I didn't command as much respect as I probably would have commanded even from him later on. But he was a troublemaker, and I was constantly pointing out the things that he was doing that were out of line. And his standard response to everything I would say is, "What's wrong? How terrible is it? What's wrong?" He was a boy of 16 or 17, and he was doing practical jokes and whatever it was. "What's wrong?" I told him, what's wrong is the question, what's wrong? The issue isn't what's wrong, the issue is what's right. In other words, when a person is looking at life, the first thing they have to define for themselves is not what am I allowed to do, but what do I want to do? And there's a very big difference between what am I allowed to do and what do I want to do. Because what I want to do is positive. It serves a purpose. It goes in a direction. What I'm allowed to do is not positive. It's just permitted. It's not negative. You know, the old Hasidic adage, was men tar nicht, tar man nicht. If you're not allowed, you're not allowed. And was men meg darf man nicht, what you're permitted, you shouldn't have, is not only religious and Hasidic and radical. It's psychological. If a person wants to be a healthy and a successful person, they don't want to waste their life and they don't want to waste their time. And the very question, what's wrong, is wrong. The minute you say what's wrong, that's wrong. Because clearly it's not right. Because if it were right, you wouldn't be asking the question. So on a very ideal level, what's wrong with movies is the question, what's wrong? It's not productive, it's not constructive, it's not good, it's a waste of time. Now, of course, I know that this is idealistic and theoretical because even parents will say that children need to be entertained, they need to be kept busy, they need to have fun, and all these other American justifications for self-diminution, for making ourselves smaller people. But ideally, ultimately, what I just said is true. What's wrong with movies is that they're what's wrong, not what's right. Having said that, to move on to the question itself, I'm not sure this is a mashpia question. This is a common sense question. It's in many cases a halacha question. In today's day and age, I don't even know if there's such a thing as a movie that you can call klipas noiga, that you can say that it's not kedusha and it's not hepech halacha. Images of hepech hatznius and innuendo of hepech hatznius is simply not allowed. It's not a permitted api shulchan aruch. That's not chasidus. It's not frumkeit. It's not leftim mishur din. It's basic law. A person is not allowed to look at women who are not properly clothed and men who are not properly clothed, and it's not just the images but the innuendo and the spirit of it all, and the culture is so saturated with this that I don't know if there is such a thing as a motion picture that can be put in the category of klipas neig. The underlying issue is this: a person was created to use his mind proactively, and any form of entertainment which thinks for you is bad because it diminishes your humanhood. If your humanity is defined by using your mind to govern your life and to live as a useful, constructive, busy human being busy with good things is not a boring life. It's life. It's what we were created to do, to use our minds to develop ourselves and be the best person we could be. When we put ourselves in a position where our brain is on automatic pilot and something else is thinking for us, it diminishes our brain power. And it doesn't only diminish what our mind is for the duration. It diminishes our mind afterwards. A person who never wasted time watching motion pictures has a certain sharpness, an intellectual sharpness that has to do with the fact that his mind is always active. And a person who spends even a little time, and certainly if he spends more than a little time, allowing something else to think for him in such a passive way, all you do is sit and watch, it's intoxicating. It makes you drunk. It makes you sleepy. It diminishes what the mind is. And that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing not only on religious grounds, it's not a good thing on psychological grounds, on human grounds. I had an acquaintance who was much older than I was, who told me that he learned in the University of Chicago many years ago, in the 60s, early 70s, I guess. And in that school, if you were accused of watching television, you were looked down upon. Simply for watching television. And we're not talking about a frum environment at all, simply on a level of the development and the use of the mind. And people don't appreciate to what extent the person's intellect is diminished by letting a machine think for them. And that's exactly what this is. So I just want to rephrase. I said 3 points. The first point is the very question, what's wrong, is what makes it wrong. And the second point is, to be sure, I don't know if there is such a thing as a movie today that's not osur because of exposure to things that a Jewish boy and girl and a Jewish man and woman should be exposed. And exposed doesn't mean I've never seen it before and I'm seeing it for the first time. If you've seen it 1,000 times and you're numb to it, the Rebbe Rashab writes about it, that doesn't mean it's not affecting you adversely. It means it's become a part of you, which is even a deeper ill. But even if there is such a thing as a motion picture which is entirely benign, being involved with that, especially for long periods of time, diminishes a person's ability to think. And we're living in a culture, in a civilization, in a society, where the damage that's been done to the human mind because of all of this entertainment is tragic. It's incredible. It's unbelievably tragic. And it would be nice if somebody would get up and actually say that the emperor has no clothes.